Hello my dear sewing friends, it's Alisa here with Thoughtful Creativity, and in this super quick and easy video I would love to share with you how I sew this really cute side seam pocket. Now there's just something so very special about a pocket like this and the finishing techniques that we're going to be using. So think about it, you can color block, you can play around with different colors and styles of the bias tape, and you can really make it into a special little design element on your top or on your dress. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So first, how to draft one. This one is just a simple little dress for a girl, and here is that side seam pocket that we're talking about. Now, if you have ever drafted a regular side seam pocket, it will look like this, like a little kidney, and I do have a separate, very detailed video on a sort of like traditional side seam pocket. Now, this pocket, as you can tell, is a little bit different, but all you need to do is to take this little pattern piece, and what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and align it more or less with a side seam. And of course you want to continue this all the way so that way it meets the side seam and here on the bottom, because we want this part to be sort of anchored in the side seam so that side pocket doesn't really flop around. Now of course, as always, you want to make sure that this part right over here or this part right over here fits your hand. So if this is for a little girl, just go ahead and take her hand, place it right over here, and make sure that this part can accommodate her hand. If you want to carry a phone in your pocket, go ahead and place your phone and make sure that your pocket can accommodate the phone. If you want this pocket for yourself, same thing. Go ahead and place your hand and do a circle or a semicircle around it in order to replicate the shape of the pocket. But other than that, I think it's pretty straightforward. Now, as to the pattern pieces, as always, we have the pocket bag that will consist of one piece that will look like so, and another piece that will look like so. And of course, you also want to make sure that this opening here is big enough for your hand to go through. So just don't forget about that. So we will need one pattern piece of the front of the dress or a top, then of course one pattern piece like this, and another pattern piece like that. You will also need a small piece of bias tape to go around this opening, but it's not necessary. And as a quick reminder, everything that I draft without seam allowances, so you will need to add seam allowances to all of your pattern pieces except for this part right over here. So don't cut any seam allowance over here and over here, because we're going to be finishing this with a bias tape. If you don't want to finish this with bias tape, you will need to cut this part with seam allowance. So the first thing that we're going to do in order to assemble this type of pocket, we're going to take this part right over here and the front part of the actual dress. Then we're going to go ahead, open the dress like so, and then I'm going to go ahead and unpin this pocket as well. As you can see, all of the parts have added seam allowances to it except this little curved part right over here. And then I'm going to go ahead and take one of these, and I'm going to place it wrong sides together with my dress, and I'm going to pin it together at that curve. Now I'm going to go ahead and stitch this. I'm going to go ahead and do that with a 1/4 of an inch stitch from the edge of the fabric. Now we're going to go ahead and apply the bias tape on the right side of the fabric. So here's my pocket piece, here's my fabric, and on this curve we're going to be applying this bias tape. Now you can do that all in one go, so just go ahead and fold it over like that and just do one stitch, or you can do that like we would usually apply a bias tape. So you first start on the wrong side, stitch and that little crease over there, then you fold it over and then you stitch on this edge right over here, whichever way you feel more comfortable. And now I'm gonna stitch right here on the very edge, catching both sides of the bias tape. Once this is done, it will look like so. Turn it to the other side, grab the other piece of the pocket, place it right sides together like that, pin it, and then you're going to stitch and serge or finish your seams right over here on this part of the pocket. Once the pocket bag is completed, the next step is to tidy it up and then place the front pattern piece with the pocket with the right sides together with the back pattern piece of the dress or the top that you're making. Pin it at the side seam, sandwiching all together, and then just finish the seam with your chosen technique. And while I was doing that, I actually thought this could be a really great, fun, and interesting pocket to include in some of the jackets as well. So possibilities are truly endless. I personally think that this type of pocket is actually easier and faster to complete than the traditional side seam pocket. And of course, if I can do it, then you can do it as well. So I'm pretty sure that you will be using this technique in your upcoming project. And if you do want to see how I do my side seam pockets, go ahead and click right over here. Very detailed tutorial, step by step, how to make them the best way possible. So click right over here, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!